Hi everyone, JP here at Websites for Beginners. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can easily and for free translate an entire site with headers, menus, links, even images. Of course, the text, very important, for free. I did say for free, but I'm going to show you how easy it is, and you can do it all within your WordPress site with a free plugin from the WordPress repository called TRANSLATEPRESS. Here I have my site, which is a wedding site, and I'm going to translate it into Afrikaans, which is the language I speak, because I don't know how to type other languages. I can do some Mandarin, but it's not good enough for translation of this site. What is important here to note a few things. Naturally, you want to translate the text. You want to put in the alternative, your second language or the secondary language for your site for the text. But you also want to change the menu items up here. But there's a third one here that's very important. I've got a logo up here that says wedding. And I want to switch that out with a logo that says troue, which is Afrikaans for wedding. And you will, of course, do that for the language that you are translating it into. And that you can all do with TRANSLATEPRESS. If you want to know more about TRANSLATEPRESS, check the link in the description below. This is a free plugin, but these guys also have a pro plugin with additional features. But you will be able to translate this entire site without having to spend anything, except, of course, the effort and the sweat and tears in doing the translation. But if you go and look at the pro features, there may be some that apply to you, especially if you're going to be making a website with more than 2 languages. A third one, for that you will have to go pro. Let's go into our WordPress administration area. You've seen my website that I have there, and we go look under plugins and we go and say add new. Over here in the search bar, you look for TRANSLATEPRESS, one word, and you'll find it very easily. And this plugin is growing at an alarming rate. Well, it's a good rate for them. TRANSLATEPRESS is my go-to plugin now because it's so easy to use, it's so intuitive, and of course, like this site, it's free. Install now, and then we're just going to activate it. And from here, we're going to the settings. To look for the TRANSLATEPRESS settings, you go over here to the settings, and as you hover over it, you will see TRANSLATEPRESS appears over here. Click on that, and we're going to set up a few things. It's very simple. You have to set up your default language. You see up here, it says default language. That is the main language of your site. And then you have to add your new language. In this case, I'm going to choose here, and I'll just type in there Afrikaans, and I'll find Afrikaans, and then I click add. And now you can see here's your default language, and here is Afrikaans. If I want to add a third language, let's say Japanese, I click here, and then I click on add. It's going to tell me that I have to get TRANSLATEPRESS Pro. We will cover multi-languages, which means more than 2, bilingual, in another tutorial. So you cannot add that one. Just save your changes down here, and you don't have to change any of the other things. You just made sure that your default language is set, and then over here, you go and set your second language. About the default language before we move forward, like in my case, let's say I'm in the UK and I realize, oops, my default language is set to United States. How do I change this one? You can select from here, but I would say the best option for you would be to go to Settings, General, and then under this one here, Site Language, this is where you set your site's default language. Just remember that. But we're going to stick to English United States, and we're going to stick to Afrikaans for my sake. So I just click here again on TRANSLATEPRESS to see what we've got here, and you will see there's a few warnings there. Don't worry about them. They are mostly connected to the translation. To translate your site, you have 3 options. Option 1 is you click here. Option 2 is you can click here. And option 3 is go to the front end. So I'll click here on Neve Wedding. And then from here, in the WordPress toolbar up here, you click on TRANSLATEPRESS. As I click on it, you would have noticed that here in the bottom right, there already is a language switcher. Very nifty, but because we are currently now in the editor mode, I cannot select this. Just remember that. All your translation is going to be done here on the left, and your display is here on the right. Currently, it is displaying the site as it would appear to a person who's accessing it, who wants to see it in English. But what's going to be important is that you actually want to see this site as you are translating it. So I'll go up here to this drop-down, select it, and select Afrikaans. Now, by doing so, it's going to load the Afrikaans version of this page. But because we haven't translated anything yet, everything still appears English. But this is going to give you real-time visual feedback as you translate each of these things. It's going to update here and you will see what you have translated and what you haven't translated yet. And you know you are now in the Afrikaans display because there are two keys here. One is this one up here. And the second one is that the language toggle option here at the bottom displays Afrikaans. To start, what you can do is simply, let's say over here you go to Jane and Josh are getting married. You see the little pencil there. Click on it, and in the sidebar on the left, it's going to give you the option to change it over here. So all your translation happens in this little block here. You see the US flag, and there is the South African flag. So it says Jane and Josh are getting married, and then I can put in Afrikaans. Well, their names won't change in Afrikaans, but I'm just going to do it for this demonstration purpose. So I'll say Jani en Johan gaan trou. And to save it, you click up here on Save Translation. After I click on this one, observe what happens here in the display. And it updates to Jani en Johan gaan trou. Up here I have December, which we spell slightly different in Afrikaans. So again, I click here on the little edit, go over here, and I'll change it to 19, let me just make sure, December 2020, and save translation again, and you see it will update there. Now let's say we change this one over here, and this is where I'm going to show you a shortcut. Again, click on the little pencil, and then over here I'll just type ons gaan trou, moenie hierdie geleentheid misloop nie, which means we are going to get married, don't miss this opportunity. Instead of going up here and clicking every time on Save Translation, you can see I can use that infamous shortcut key, Control S, or if you're on a Mac, Command S. So I'm just going to say Control S, and you will see the moment it has saved the text, it will update over here. And that is one way you can go about. So what you do as you go through this entire page, you will observe that every time you hover over any text, even here in the buttons, that you can simply click on the pencil and you can change the text. It's also a good idea, even if the name in English and in the secondary language is the same, to still give it an update over here. But what I want to focus on now is this little dude up here. This is a logo, this is an image. So it's not text that I can just simply change, right? It's an image. And I can actually swap this image out with an alternative image. So what I've done within my Photoshop, I've taken this logo and I made an Afrikaans one, which says troue. And then I want to bring that in so it can show over here. Click on the pencil. It's very important that you don't click on this area, but on the pencil. And you will see over here, there is my URL for this logo in my WordPress media library. What am I talking about? If you don't know, and you probably do know, let's just go into my WordPress media library to give you an idea of what's going on over here. Just copy that, open a new tab, paste this. Let's go into our WordPress administration, and then here, media library. And then I'll show you, here we have this logo. When I click on it, I'm going to see this link over here. And this is the link from which this logo is drawing the image. So this link you see here is the same link you see over here. That's how come it can display over here. But what I want is actually on the Afrikaans side for this logo to display. And I've put it in pink so you can see that there is actually a difference. Let's go into the translation area. So you see here to Afrikaans, it says here Add Media. When I click on it, it opens my media library. If I haven't uploaded that image yet, I can do so now. But if I have, like in my case, I click here on my media library and then I select this one and I say use this media. And it will update there now after I say save changes. But I can also, if there is a title attribute, which is a caption or a name for it, I can put it here. So let's put in Nief Trouwe. Save translation, Control S, Command S, and it updates there. Okay, is this actually working? Because how will it look on the front end? Let's close out here of the editor and go back to the front end to see how this has all happened now. So currently you can see here is my logo in Afrikaans and it says Jan en Johan gaan trou, which means we're looking at the Afrikaans version. To go to the English one, go to the toggle bar here at the bottom and select English, and you will see it switch to English and everything looks the way it used to look before. How do you also know which one you are viewing? And you can see that up here where your address is, your website address, your URL. This is nief-wedding.thecosmiccafe.net. When you switch to Afrikaans or whichever language you are using, you're going to see there's going to be a little code after that indicating your language. I go here to the bottom, I click on Afrikaans, and you will see it says /AF for Afrikaans and another /. So if you are going to share this site with any relative or friend and you want them to access the Afrikaans one because you know they prefer that, you will select this URL with the AF and not just the standard website address. Let's continue editing a few more things because, of course, I'm not going to edit the entire site. That's unnecessary. It's just to show you how easy it is to edit your entire site and pages with this plugin from TRANSLATEPRESS. We go again and click here on Translate Page. It takes us again into this area, currently set to Afrikaans. That's the one we are translating it into. We have learned up to now how easy it is to translate any text. You simply go to the text, select the little edit icon over here, and then you type over here, vind uit meer, Control S, Command S to save it. What you also can do is instead of every time coming here and clicking on a little icon, you have the option just to move forward. For example, let's say we go here to the bride and I click here on this one. It will give me here in English, the bride. In Afrikaans will be die bruid. And now when I say Control S, you'll see up here, I have the option to move to the next translation. So if I click on next, it will give me Jane Austen, which we said is Janie, and Janie, vergewe my, Janie Oosthuizen. And then Control S, and then I just can click again here on next, and it will give me, what is this, the image, which I don't care about because I want to keep it, so I just click on next again, and it takes me to the groom, die bruidegom, die bruidegom, is ek nou reg? Am I right? Bruidegom, I think so. Right? And this is how you simply cycle through it. And again, you also have a shortcut key for this. This one is Control Alt right arrow. What will that be? Command Option right arrow? I think you have Option on the Mac, right? That will be Command Option right arrow. So if I go Control Alt right arrow, it takes me to the next one, which is Josh Peterson. And I will say again, Johan Pieterse. Control S, Control Alt right arrow, and this is how you move through all of this. If you see somewhere on your page later on that, wait a minute, that one isn't translated, or this one isn't translated, you simply click on that one over here, and then you can update that. What I want to show you is up here, we had changed this text. Ons gaan, which was it, something, and then we changed it to our text. It said this weird, I guess it was some keeping some text and it translated to this. But actually this text had been used lower on as well, over here. If I click on this one, you will see it's the same. So if it identifies the same text on various areas of your page, it's going to duplicate your translation which speeds up your work for you. That's how you translate the text. Very simple, very intuitive, real-time feedback. It is brilliant. I love it. We've also looked at how you can change and swap out images to have it relevant to the different translations. This is a very good example where the image contained text. But how about our headers up here? For example, if I go to home and I click here, it's going to tell me home, right? And that's, again, as simple as that. So I will say taster, Control S. And because all of these are in a row, I can just click on next. It's going to give me our story. Over here, you see our story. And I will say ons story. Control S, Control Alt right arrow to the next one, location. And I just typed in here venue. And then Control S, Control Alt to the right. Accommodation is verblyf. And same thing, Control S, Control Alt to the right. And then news. And where are these ones that I'm talking about now? They are here in the drop-down menu. So if I click here on the drop-down menu, you will see news appears over here. Again, I can select it from here. But as I'm cycling through them, it appears here. I can just type in news. And then again, Control S, Control Alt right. And that will give me contact, which is the last one in my header. And for this one, contact ons. Control S. Great, so we've translated the header. And the same thing you can do when you go to the footer. Even if it's in the theme, you come down here and you click on it and you translate it simply by clicking on that little blue circle with the little pencil inside it. But how do you go about translating the other pages? For example, I have this page up here and our story up here, but I need to go to that page. Now, you would think that you have to exit here, go into those pages, and then again, activate TRANSLATEPRESS from those pages. That is unnecessary. You don't have to do that. All you need to do is click directly on the link. And that's why I told you earlier, make sure when you want to edit something, you click here on the little blue icon and not within that area, because that's actually an active link. If I click here on ons story, it's going to take me to that page. And here we go. Again, we have to do translation over here. So starting from the top, instead of selecting anything here, you can just go up here and you can begin by clicking on next. It's going to give me Neve Wedding, and you're going to see that we've already translated it. And that is this little dude up here. If I click next, it's going to give me more images. We've already translated that. And here it will cycle again through all of these. So the best way, when you already have those translated, is to go to the first part that you need to translate, which is this a love fairy tale. Ooh la la. Click here on this one. And then we say, a rechte, I'm being very corny, a rechte sprokies verhaal. And then Control S. You see it updates. Control Alt, Command Option, right arrow. Go to the next one. We have our story. And I'll say ons story. Let's make it a little bit more. I'm just going to type oor ons, about us. It sounds a little bit weird in Afrikaans, but you know, sometimes that's how it works. You just don't say certain things in your language when you translate it from another language. And that's how you go through all of these pages, and it will work exactly the same for blogs. So even categories and tags for posts, you're not going to go into the back end and translate them there. What will happen is on this page, when you get to that, they will appear here in the editor, and that's where you are going to do the translation. It may seem like we are done, but what if you wanted to add a language switcher in your menu up here? We have this toggle option at the bottom. Maybe you don't like it, you don't want it there. You probably want it up here. How can you do that? Before we do that, look here, extra translation features. This is a little bit of promo for the Pro version of TRANSLATEPRESS Pro. Support for 221 extra languages. It's a little extreme if you want to have that many languages on your site, but that is very important for those that still want to bring in SEO. You get translate your SEO title, description, and slug. Publish only when translation is complete. So you can complete your entire translation and only publish it. Then translate by browsing, as user role, different menu items for each language. So you will get more items for this in the free version. That's a little limited, but still you can do a very good job with that. And then automatic user language detection. We can jump over to the website after we have made the language switcher. So let's go to the language switcher, and what we do here is we close the editor. That will take us again to the front end. Google wants to translate this page because it realizes it's not in English. I can put it again here on English, switch with the toggle option down here, and there it is in English, our story. And I just want to see if it works properly every time. I put it back on Afrikaans, oor ons. Great stuff. Let's go into the back end to our WordPress administration area. I'll close this. And then we go first to our settings and then select TRANSLATEPRESS. The reason I'm doing this, I want to show you the 3 options you have for the language switcher. The first one is this floating language selection. This is the one at the bottom, that toggle option you have. You can choose what it should display. You can choose full language names that will say English, Afrikaans, or short language names, ENG, AFR, and then you have the option to add flags or only flags. And then you have the position, bottom right, bottom left, top right, top left, right? This would have also been cool if it was like, you know, on the sidebar almost, on the side to the right, side to the left. Something I could maybe tell the guys over there at TRANSLATEPRESS. This one we have seen. If you don't want to use it, you deselect it over here, it will be removed. The one that we are going to look at now is menu item, but you can also look at the shortcode. If you want to bring in a switcher with shortcode, here you will do that and use the shortcode on any page that you want to do that. And this is the shortcode that you're going to use, language-switcher. That's it, that's your shortcode. But the menu item, this is the one we want to use. Where do we do that? So let me just save the changes to make sure I didn't mess up anything here. And then what I'll do is I'm going to open a front end. So I'll go up here. I'll click and hold and drag, drop it here to open the front end. Let's see, it's on English. Yes, it's on English. And let's go back into WordPress. Appearance, select menus. And that's where we want to add the language switcher. If all worked well, you would see here a language switcher option appears. If you do not see it, simply go up here to screen options, click here, and make sure that language switcher is activated. If I deselect it, you will see it disappears here. So that could happen. It's not supposed to, but it, you know, these things do happen. So make sure that it is selected here so that you can see it over here. Then close it. Now, remember this is a free version, so you're not getting all the bells and whistles, but you can add those languages to your menu and header. Go here, and what I will do is I'll select Afrikaans and English, add it to the menu, and they will appear now as part of the menu. Click here on Save. Go to the front. Let's refresh this page, and you will see they appear up here now. So when people come to the site, yes, it's currently in English, so no reason to have the English there. They can just click on Afrikaans, and it will take them to the Afrikaans. Then again, if they want to go back to English, simply click on English. Go back here to the menus, and when you go to language switcher, you will see current language. So you can add the current language, which will be, if it's on the front, English. What you can do in this case, I'll drag it up, and then these two, I will make them sub-menus like this. Save them, and then you go and refresh. And now you will see that this one will be English, and I can select Afrikaans. And this one is Afrikaans, and I can select English. I would have loved to be able for it to show only Afrikaans, and when it goes to Afrikaans, that it only shows English. This is not an option in TRANSLATEPRESS, but I can live with this option. It's definitely not the end of the world for me, and I consider it's free. Very thankful for that. What I would do for my sites, if it's a simple site like this, I will put these guys, let me see why they don't want, okay, Afrikaans, go back and I'll remove this one. If you have the real estate for that, and it's something like a wedding site like this, even a simple blog site, I think, and as I mentioned, if you have the real estate, the space up here, I like to put those there, and this will give people a clear indication that this is indeed a bilingual site and that they can choose from the various languages here. Of course, when you go to multiple languages, you run into 5 or 6. And I've seen only a few sites, the big sites in the world, they only go that big. But like in South Africa, we've got 10 plus local languages. Maybe there's a site, you have some information, you want to have it in all those different languages, then you will have that drop down for them over there. And that's how you set up the language switcher within the menu. And that's it. This is your site. So you can switch to Afrikaans over here or with the toggle option switcher in the bottom. And then you can see you can change your images, you can change your text, and that's it, really. And now I keep saying that's it because that's how easy it is with TranslatePress. Let's go and have a look a little bit at what TranslatePress offers us if we decide to go pro, and those features I will still feature here in the future on Websites for Beginners. Let's open a new tab, type in translatepress.com, and you can follow the link in the description below. And then when we go to features over here, you can go through this, and there is a number of features. Of course, these are the ones that we've been working on, what you can do for free. And then they have the pro options down here, the SEO pack, multiple languages, and then you have automatic user language detection. You can do translation with DeepL. So for those of you who like to have a machine do the translation for you as an initial setup and then come in and do some tweaks, that's the same with DeepL and Google Translate. You have translator accounts if you're working with a big site and you are hiring people and you want them to have access only to certain parts. That's what you're going to do there. Browse as user role and navigation based on the language. So these are the extra add-ons. Check the link in the description below and give it a spin. I am very impressed with this plugin. Highly recommend it. If you look for a very intuitive free plugin that's going to help you quickly set up a bilingual site, TranslatePress is the way to go. This is JP here. Have a lovely day. Stay safe.